and you can blow them up to fuck. How's it going, team? If you're like me, you're basically done with Apex, and recently I've been playing a game called The Finals. I don't know if you've played it yet, but it's class, to be fair. It's kind of like a mixture of playing COD and Apex. It's kind of hard to explain, but you'll know what I mean once you give it a try, or you might have already. So I'd be interested to know your thoughts down in the comments. So the question is, what do I actually like about it? Do I like it just because it's a new game, just a bit of change, or do I like it because it's still similar to what I've been playing before and I can pick it up pretty quickly? So there's a few things I actually like about it. I quite like the weapon system they've got on it. So each class has their own weapons. So for heavy, they have 2 light machine guns, a shotgun, and a hammer. I think I might be missing one. For light, so they have 2 submachine guns, an MP5, I can't remember what the other one's called, it kinda looks like an Uzi, and they have a knife and a sword. I keep thinking there's maybe an extra one, but you get the gist of it. So I like that each class has their own specific weapons, but I do feel that they could probably add in a bit more. But again, I'm kind of hoping that happens on the many updates that they do. As I said, the game kind of reminds me of a mixture of COD and Apex. So the movement is kind of similar. I kind of feel it's like COD, but a little bit quicker. And there's abilities that get you about the place. For example, the medium has a jump pad and a zip line. That will help you get to height or just further ahead or into windows and stuff like that. Kind of like Pathy and Octane for Apex, you know what I mean? It keeps relating back. Light, so they move quicker. And their actual special abilities, they have a dash, so that can be charged up to 3 times, and it can be used when you're in a fight, get you side to side, or it can get you across buildings, into windows, stuff like that. And the grappling hook, again, is like Pathy. You throw up and attach it to something and you swing round, and aye, it's a good movement tool. For heavy, they've got absolutely all. So currently there's 4 maps in rotation for the finals, which doesn't sound like a lot, but for each map there is different variations. So every time you load in, there may be something different. So for example, floating platforms, there can be parts under construction, it can be in a desert map, things like that. So there is variations each time you play it. In the finals, most buildings are generally destroyable? Is that the word? And you can blow them up to fuck and bring it down. So I know I keep mentioning Apex, but it's similar. Each class has different abilities and throwables and usable technology to change how fights go, which is very similar to Apex. So we'll start at the top. Heavy, for example, has a goo gun, so this can be used to block off doorways, set up cover round about you if you're fighting, just give you extra protection pretty much. The con to it is it can be immediately destroyed by a pyro grenade. Once this goes on fire, it can actually damage you as well, so you need to watch out for that. What it can also be used for is, if you're using a hammer, you can goo someone, run up and hit them with the hammer. Good for closing the gap for that. Charging slam does exactly what it says in the tin. You press your special, you start charging forward, barge into people, and if you can keep doing it, the damage ticks up. You can kill people in 2, 3, 4 shots. Also with that, you can jump up, slam down and do, I don't know if it's extra damage, but it's just an extra way to deal damage to someone. And probably my most used one for heavy is the mesh shield. So the mesh shield you can actually use and joint with the throwable dome from the heavy. And this can be used to add like 2 layers of protection for your teammates, so they can move in between and just basically don't get hit. It is very strong. So now onto the medium class, and we'll start with the turret. I'll be honest here, the turret for me pretty early on was shit. It wouldn't lock onto people, and even if it did, it would get shot out in like 2 seconds. But in recent patches, they've made it a lot more accurate. It hits a lot harder, against me anyway, and it just feels a lot stronger, so it is pretty versatile. So mediums had the recon ability. It's actually had a recent nerf. Basically allows you to see people through walls, and yeah, it's wall hack. So recently it's had a nerf to reduce the radius of it, and it now alerts you if you are detected by the enemy team. For the medium's Holy Grail, you have the healing beam, so this can be ridiculously strong. This can be used for when you defib a player, get him up and heal him, and he's back in the fight within an instant. It could also be used to heal one of your teammates, so ideally a heavy, and he sits out, fights, shoots people down, and you just heal him up, and it can be very strong. So lights again have 3 abilities. So the first one is Evasive Dash. As I mentioned earlier, it pretty much sends you into any direction that you want. This can be charged up to 3 times, and it can be pretty strong if you know how to use it correctly. They also have the Grappling Hook as an ability that allows them to get to height, or just change position, or even close a gap on someone. And probably the most used one is the Invisibility Cloak. This will make you invisible for a certain period of time. So if you move, you can be seen slightly, but if you stand still, you're pretty much impossible to see. And if used correctly, or say your stun gun, you can bust people down easily. So last, but probably the most important, is the fact that devs are paying constant attention to this game, making almost weekly updates. This has been used for any hotfixes that are required, bringing new content, fixing stuff that's OP. So for example, they removed the fire and gas barrel nukes, which were ridiculous. They're bringing a lot of balancing into the game weekly. It can be a good and bad thing. Maybe too much change is not the greatest, but it is showing a lot of attention to it, which is a good thing. And that's it for today's video, troops. I appreciate you staying for this long, so if you've enjoyed it, don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button. I am also live on this channel, and my stream schedule's posted on my page. So if you check that out, you'll know exactly when, and I hope to see you in the next one. Catch you.